Today, my friends, we have a Town Hall 11 Dragbat guide where we're going to break down Dragbat step by step for the first example, and then we're also going to teach you guys various troops that you can bring with your Dragbat. This guide is going to really go over everything that you need to know, a full breakdown on this strategy. So you're here to learn Dragbat here at Town Hall 11. Well, this video has got you covered. We're going to be looking at a ton of different examples. We're going to go by this base design step by step in order to teach you guys how you guys can use this attack strategy. So for starters, step one is going to be looking at the base design and saying, how would you hit this? With the Dragbat, of course, this is definitely a very common base design. You'll see that there are single target Infernos. This is going to be the only example with singles, but still gives you guys some sort of way to understand when to use this. And you could use this against multis and singles, so it really doesn't matter. But the big thing is how much value are you truly going to get with your dragons? So with that being said, if we go ahead and maybe make a funnel here and a funnel down here, what we're doing is we are going to basically be able to send in our dragons this direction as long as we clear a couple of these structures here. But what we're doing is we want to make sure that our entire attack goes in like this. That's going to be the main goal. So the main reason to why is if we can kind of circle what we're looking at. We're looking at that wizard tower, we're looking at the eagle, and we're looking at this wizard tower as well. So as we're going in, what we've also got is the Stone Slammer, and the Stone Slammer will move here. It'll get taken out by the air defense and the Single Inferno, but it will be able to take out that whole compartment, and then we could actually use our bat spells around this area here in order to cut that out. What this allows us now to do is just allow our bats to get some extra value. One of the biggest things, as far as I can tell from this base design, is the multiple use of ground targeting expos, meaning that air is definitely going to be the method of choice. Even if there's an air sweeper pointing this direction and one pointing this direction, we can still get a lot of value from that, from particularly this side of the base, as we can still get the eagle. We're not looking for any Multi Infernos because there are none. So that's the planning phase. Now we're going to go into the step-by-step sort of, how this attack strategy is done. First of all, we're using a Sui hero. So you'll see on one side we're using a Sui, and on the other side would be using a dragon or an Electro dragon or something like that. Now, here is where you guys could think about whether or not you want to bring a Lava Hound. It's going to be up to you. Whether or not you want to bring an Ice Golem, it's going to be up to you. This is a great example of using an Ice Golem in an attack like this. Or, I'm sorry, a Lava Hound. The Lava Hound's job is to tank as much as possible. So what you're doing with the Lava Hound is you are going to use it on an air defense at least deep enough into the base where the dragons can't get to it early enough. That's really where you're going to be using it. Now you'll see on the opposite side here, we have the Single Inferno targeting onto the Stone Slammer. The Stone Slammer's job here is to gut that entire section out. So you'll see from these two sections is that we are gutting this area out with the Stone Slammer and then the dragon and balloons. We're getting rid of this section here with the dragons and the balloons and the warden. The warden's ability being used around the, the center. That way what we're able to do in that area is protect the dragons as much as possible. So we're either putting it on one of two sections. On the first couple volleys of a eagle, if we're not, if we're not close enough, or we're using it in around the core of the base in order to protect the dragons. Now you'll see from here is we have cleared those two sections. So what about this bottom one? So watch carefully here. He's going to drop in a rage, freeze, and then bat spells. The main reason to why a lot of attackers will do this first is due to the fact that the bats will accumulate a lot quicker when you drop in those bats after you drop in the freeze. The freeze won't last as long, but that freeze can still be used even if because you have multiple freeze spells. You will be able to freeze up onto those wizard towers, over time. So let's say one freeze, doesn't is, expires over the Multi Inferno and starts locking onto your bats, then you use a second one really quickly, or you use one right before it's about to die. So that's where you got to really make sure that you are taking advantage of that. But you'll see that the bats do a lot of really good work. Here's one thing though. You may have saw that red air bomb. If the bats were even closer to those dragons, they probably would have been targeted by that red air bomb, and they would have been completely taken out. So my tip of advice is don't rely on your bats so heavily, because the bats can still be taken out by stuff such as tornado traps and also things such as red air bombs. Like you saw right there, there was a red air bomb that completely took out those bats. So you've got to really consider a lot of different factors, but that's going to be one of them, is definitely trap placement in terms of a base. That's one thing that you can't predict, and you have to hope that they have bad trap placement in order to, well, sometimes they can have good ones and you can still triple, but that gives you guys that sort of step-by-step. I hope that kind of made it a little bit more simple, using the bats and stuff like that, creating the funnel. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to a couple examples using another Lava Hound and Ice Golem, no Lava Hound or Electro Dragons, and also with two Electro Dragons. So here we go, guys. We've got another example on our hands, and we're going to be taking a look at Multi Infernos being hit. This is an anti-3-star base design, so of course it's not a common base design here, but what you'll see from this example is that we've got an Electro Dragon, a Lava Hound, and an Ice Golem being used. Now let's explain to you what the Ice Golem does in an attack like this. The Ice Golem can be used realistically anywhere, but more specifically on a Wizard Tower. So like we see right here, if we dropped in an Ice Golem, it would immediately lock on, that Wizard Tower would immediately lock on to that Ice Golem. And what this allows us to do is actually use that as an extra freeze spell. And that's basically what I'm trying to refer to that. So it works against Multi Infernos, but it doesn't work against the Eagle or it doesn't work against Multi Infernos or the Eagle, but it works against Wizard Towers. So try to take advantage of how Wizard Towers are placed. But on top of this, by looking at this base design, we also have an Electro Dragon. Electro Dragons are good in terms of getting chain value. Like we see right down here, we can actually easily pick off these structures here with an E-Drag. However, you'll see that this Air Sweeper is going to be blowing that Electro Dragon back, making it extremely difficult to get that funnel made. Definitely a sort of weird place to put a Air Sweeper, but you'll see that it does definitely, become in use, especially against the E-Drag that's going to be trying to create the funnel. So you'll see right there, if we placed it just a little bit higher, like maybe right here, it wouldn't actually blow back that Electro Dragon. So there's just some small tweaks that he could have made, but he still got the triple. So the big thing here is creating the other side of the funnel with the Sui Hero. So you'll see that right here, very similar to the first one that we saw. We're using that Sui Hero to get a lot of good value from the outside. The Queen's able to pick over those walls. She's going to be able to pick off Wizard Towers, Multi Infernos if they're walkable, and also stuff such as like Archer Towers, air defenses, stuff like that. So you'll see that what we're doing is we're still trying to create the funnel, but we won't be able to on that side thanks to the that Air Sweeper. But you'll see that what we're doing here with this attack is when we're going in, we have the Grand Warden behind. His aura around them is going to give them a little bit more hit points. But on top of this, what you're also seeing as well is the first initial rage. I didn't mention this in the previous one, in the first example, but the first rage is going to be used to get your balloons and dragons right into the base. They're pretty slow, meaning that you are going to need to use a rage spell on them in order to get them in. Now you can use 2 rage spells on them. However, you want to save one of your rage spells for the splash defenses, and that's going to be your big thing there that you want to make sure that you are doing. So you'll see that from this example as well, there's a tornado trap right by the Inferno. We've also got the CC being lured, and the Eagle is definitely locking onto those dragons. So we've got to use our Grand Warden's ability around, the very beginning part of this attack in order to protect those dragons as much as possible, as we want to make sure that we are getting as much value from them as possible. Now you'll see that we have the dragons going into that one section, but we have the Stone Slammer and also the Lava Hound going in on the other side. Now, just like the previous one, you saw that where we staggered our placement of the Stone Slammer. So in this case, we're doing the same thing. We are dropping in that Stone Slammer to get some value. But you'll also see that we're dropping in the bat spells. We're doing the same thing. Bats, or Rage, Freeze, Bats. This is an easy way, and you guys can even do this as well. It's super simple. All you have to do, though, is just adjust on the fly. See what's going on over here. You can definitely tell that some of the dragons are moving on the outside, but for the most part, we're getting a good amount of value. On the opposite side, though, we've got the Ice Golem that's going to tank for that Wizard Tower. And then what we're also going to see is allow our Stone Slammer to get as much value from there, if it does have loons, of course. So you'll see that what's going on here is we're just making sure that we can get as much value as possible. Though remember, we have to be careful about having air defenses or air troops by those bats. So you'll see that what we're doing here is just going through each of those defenses, even though those bats are definitely getting a little bit, a little bit more thin. So you'll see that we only have two dragons here. So this is sometimes where an attack could 100% go wrong, but this is still a great example of really how you guys can use a bat or like a bat spell strategy like Dragbat, even if your entire army goes completely around the eagle. So that's really why in this case you're still going to be able to get down really a lot of solid things as long as you're able to use that Stone Slammer staggered. So you saw that in two examples, but now we're going to go ahead and move on to another example where they do not have anything other than dragons and, of course, balloons and some other troops. So you may have already noticed from this base design here is we do not have anything else except for the dragons, the balloons, and then a couple cleanup troops and stuff. So this is definitely still an option for you to try out. So if we play this example, again, we're going to do a very simple and basic thing. We're going to start off by creating the funnel on one side of the, we're getting the 1 star here. That's what we're doing. But we're using the baby dragon to create one side of the funnel here. We're just trying to get some value from these smaller troops while still being able to clear out things such as that archer tower there. That way we can still get some sort of value from it. However, it does get taken out by the black air bomb. So what you'll see from here is we've got the queen going in with the giant in order to tank. That's going to clear up that side of the funnel. We have the king on the opposite side creating that side of the funnel. We're still entering into an area where we're not going to be being blown back by the air sweeper, but at the same time we're still getting value of things such as the eagle, Multi Inferno, Wizard Tower. That's what we're looking for. So you'll see that what the queen's doing down here is picking off those type of structures. So as she continues to move her way around the base, we've got the minion that's going to help out with just clearing that section up. And then what we've got down here, or right here, is we've got everything moving in. This is where you really wouldn't need to use the Stone Slammer staggered. You can almost use it like a Lava Hound in some way. But the big thing here is you're going to use that first initial rage in order to get right into the base. Make sure that you can protect everything going in with that Grand Warden's ability like you saw right there against the eagle. So as everything is moving in, you're going to see the bats are going to be dropped in that section. Now you may be asking already, why are we dropping in our bats there and not at this Multi Inferno? Well, everything is actually moving towards that Multi Inferno. Even if some of those dragons are moving here, there isn't enough defenses or buildings there to keep them on the outside. And instead, they're going to move right up to that Multi Inferno. So instead of targeting that Multi Inferno and then just them going all over the place, especially with a tornado trap being there, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and drop in our bats, our freeze, and our rage right there in order to take care of that section. That's all we got to do there. So you'll see that what we're doing is we're going to be able to easily deal with it. rage up bats do a lot of work, and you'll see that as they just go around the base. Notice that we're not using a free spell just yet, and we're going to use it right there just in order to sort of clip both the Wizard Tower and Multi Inferno, but it won't be enough to take out the Wizard Tower. However, even still, we have the Stone Slimer that popped up into balloons, and we still have a couple more dragons in order to deal with the rest of the base. And that's really how you guys can use something like this without, without having to use any of, of course, the Electro Dragon, Lava Hound, Ice Golem. That's definitely something that you could probably do, but on this base design, you didn't really need it. So that gives you guys another really solid example there. If you guys have made it this far in the video, remember to leave a like on the video and subscribe if you are new to join the Corrupt fam. Now let's go ahead and move on into our final example using 2 Electro Dragons. Now this is our final example using 2 Electro Dragons, 8 dragons, and 8 loons. This is what I actually typically used at Town Hall 11 for the most part. I even used this for farming. It really isn't a difficult strategy at all. It's very, very simple, and it really doesn't require all too much. I know I voice cracked there, don't worry. The big thing here to take away is when you're scouting a base design, take a look at those air sweepers. Let's look at them right here. You'll see one air sweeper is pointing on one side. So both air sweepers are pointing in the same direction, in a different area, but in the same direction. What this means is that if we take a look at maybe, let's say this section here, what this allows us to do is, or maybe even right here, because here's what I'm thinking, especially as an attacker who was at Town Hall 11, and, still I was pretty skilled with this attack. I did some live attack videos with Dragbat in the past, but you would just be funneling this section out, maybe this section out with the Sui Hero and the Electro Dragon, and then you would send everything in this way, because you're going to be able to get a Multi Inferno, you're going to get 2 Wizard Towers, and you're going to get access to the Eagle. Other than that, all you would have to do is either you would drop a freeze right in between those 2 structures, and then what you would do is drop in your Rage, Bats, and Freeze in that section, and then you would clear it out. So that's what I would kind of do on that base. Of course, you don't actually have to kind of follow what I do, but of course, that's kind of my mindset. Now, you'll see from here is that we are actually targeting, we're going in, towards the air sweeper. And of course, I typically, would take advantage of it. However, you've also got to consider how the buildings are laid out. So you'll see here is that we have a dead zone. So that could definitely cause some trouble here. So what we're doing on these 2 sides is using a Electro Dragon here, and then an Electro Dragon and a Sui Hero here. So that then, what that means is when we're entering into the base here with the Stone Slimer and the dragons and the balloons, and along with the Grand Warden, we're using that first initial rage, getting rid of the Multi Inferno. And what you'll see from here is that what we're trying to do is get as much value as possible. So we're going to use that Grand Warden's ability to deal with that, of course, deal with the Eagle, of course. And still, even when we're dealing with the enemy CC, like you see right here, all 4 of these examples have been against damaged CCs. Even if it's against an Electro Dragon, you can actually just poison up the E-Drag, and it's really not going to do too much. And then you'll see right here, the bats being used right on top of the Wizard Tower as well. So the big thing there was he clipped up the Multi Inferno and the Wizard Tower together in order to get value from that. So just remember that if you're going to do that, try to place it in the middle somewhere. That's going to get you the most amount of value for your entire attack. So that then you can see with the bats, you can just make sure that he's going to wait his time in terms of targeting onto the Wizard Tower, which is going to get easily taken out. And that's just going to allow everything else to work their way around the base and deal with everything else. And with that being said, guys, that is those 4 examples of using a Dragbat. Now, I may know that this video may not be searched as much, but I do appreciate everyone who actually stays on the video and watches the video. Thank you guys so much for doing that. Also, hopefully I'm not talking too much. I've had comments in the past really where they've been saying that I'm talking too much, and I hope that I'm not talking, too much to a point where, you guys are being annoyed or something. I just want to make sure that you guys understand as much. I may sometimes fumble around with my words, but I'm just trying to give you guys the best tips and tricks that I can do. So with that being said, guys, that's going to do it for the video. If you guys enjoyed, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bells to join the Corrupt fam. Feel free to also go ahead and join any of the clans down below, including Exit San or the Exit Humanity family, and also Aphelion. Those Discord links are in the description below. Also, feel free to go ahead and join my community Discord server and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch, all underneath the same header. But with that being said, guys, that is going to do it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next time. Corrupt, signing out.